Do you agree with Stephanie White?
Listen, I don't watch the WNBA extensively enough to say whether I agree or disagree. But I've often used the line, Shay, that I'll share with you because I don't know if I've ever used it while you've been on the air with me. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. I've said that many, many times over the years. There is a flagrant level of resentment that exists when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And it has existed since she has arrived in the league. She is the
After just one whistle, one collision, and one replay, everyone in the basketball world ceased discussing the outcome in a matter of minutes. Rather, the same question was being asked by everyone. What actually became of Caitlin Clark? No one anticipated a single sequence. From a routine regular season game to take center stage in national basketball discussions. Nor the spectators in the arena, nor the commentators on the game, and most definitely not the thousands of many individuals who would thereafter spend hours playing the same video over from every angle. However, it is precisely what took place. The last buzzer went off. The athletes made their way to the changing areas. However, the night's biggest tale was just getting started in a matter of minutes. Social media took off. The replay was visible everywhere. National television, podcasts, YouTube producers, basketball pages, and sports channels. Everyone appeared to be conversing. Roughly the same time, here's what made the whole thing even more intriguing. No one could concur on what they had only observed. After watching the replay, some viewers claimed it was just another challenging basketball play. Others who saw the same video had very different perspectives. The argument wasn't just heated. It was present everywhere. The video was never seen by anyone. They were watching once more before slowing it down. Then contrasting several camera perspectives, reading thousands of comments from admirers who all thought they had the right response. The basketball world was further polarized as more people watched. To that point, the narrative took another surprising twist. The conversation continued outside of the WNBA. It swiftly expanded throughout the country. Media related to sports TV programs began talking about it. Basketball analysts provided full, distinct viewpoints. Former players shared their thoughts. With each fresh voice came another layer to the discussion, and all of a sudden, what had begun as one contentious scene had turned into one of the week's top basketball stories. Then there was still another significant change. Stephen A. Smith spoke about the expanding discussion. During First Take, a debate that was already dominating headlines received much more national attention.
Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas receives flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension. I want to know your thoughts. Is 1 game enough? 2 games, 3 games? I'm seeing some say 5 games. I'm seeing some people say 10 games Alyssa Thomas should have been suspended for. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas receives flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension. June 25th, 2026. Upon post-game review, the Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas has received a flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension for recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark. It was announced today by the WNBA. The incident, for which Thomas was deemed to have committed a non-basketball act, occurred with 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the second quarter of the Mercury's 111-109 win over the Fever last night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Per WNBA rule, the league office has the option following its review of any game to reclassify a flagrant foul or to classify as flagrant any foul not called as such during a game and may impose a fine and or suspension. Alyssa Thomas will serve her suspension on June 27th when the Mercury visit the Toronto Temple. Now I have a question, because this is similar to what happened with Kennedy Carter. This is also similar with what happened with Dejounte Carrington. I have a question to the WNBA shills out there. Do any of you guys have the stones? Shout out to Rudy. Any of you guys have the guts, the balls, the courage?
The narrative took a completely different turn when one of the biggest names in sports television joined the conversation. Distinct level. Now, the debate over the play wasn't limited to Fever enthusiasts. Everywhere, basketball fans desired Responses. Was this just fierce, elite competition? Did the authorities handle the situation suitably? Or has this instance evolved into a much broader discussion about physical play, consistency, and the security of players in the modern WNBA? Fans are still divided over those issues, which is precisely why this narrative refuses to vanish. Because it appears that each repeat generates a new viewpoint, each opinion generates another discussion, and each discussion draws in additional participants. One instant, one replay, one choice. And all of a sudden, a whole league was at the heart of one of the season's most talked about debates. What then took place in the sequence? Why has a single play elicited such a wide range of responses from supporters, commentators, and past athletes? And why, long after the game is over, are people still arguing about it? Let's take our time. Analyze the order from start to finish and investigate why this particular time has grown to be one of the Indiana Fever's most talked about topics this season. As the game progressed farther into, the atmosphere naturally escalated during its most competitive moments. Every item carried additional weight, each rebound was important. Neither team was prepared to give up simple chances, and each player knew how. The momentum had become significant. You sensed a shift in the vibe. Every defensive stop was applauded. Every ball that went free turned into a fight. The game's physical aspect kept increasing possession. Following possession, the sequence that everyone is still discussing came next, a quick-paced play with Caitlin. Both the audience and watchers at home took notice of Clark right away. Star power.
And her cachet. And as a result, if they have an opportunity to go at her, they're going to take it. Now, Caitlin Clark is no innocent bystander in all of this. She's a high-end competitor. She can be very feisty. We saw from her college days where she can chirp and talk junk at you, which is why Angel Reese went at her when they ultimately beat her for the national championship, because she was chirping right back at her and trolling her. That's where the real fame of Angel Reese rose. We saw all of this. In the end, there are people that undoubtedly respect her, and you have an appreciation for what she's brought to the game in terms of notoriety and what have you. And I'll be the first to say that the Janae Ogwumike's, the Andrea Carters, and all of them, Monica McNutts, are far more qualified than me to speak on the issue because they see more of it than I do. But with what I've seen, you are able to say 1 + 1 = 2. And there's been a level of resentment that has existed where I believe there's been a failure on the part of some people to appreciate the mantra of a rising tide lifts all boats. Ride this cash cow till the wheels come off. They did it in the NBA with Magic Johnson. They did it ultimately with Michael Jordan. You know, that's how you do this. You find somebody that just galvanizes folks and ingratiates themselves with the public at large in such a way where everywhere they go and whatever they do, everybody wants to watch. You don't resent that. You feed off of it to build your own. And I think that WNBA as a whole, that women's basketball as a whole, and some, not most, not all, but some WNBA players need to appreciate that and gravitate to that and grab hold of that and ride that wave to your own ascension, as opposed to resenting it and showcasing it the second you get an opportunity to, whenever Caitlin Clark is in your vicinity. That would be my advice. That's all I could say about that.
I didn't love that this happened not once but twice yesterday, where there was basically a no call. I thought Stephanie White did the right thing. She should have gone off. She needs to protect her superstar. That's her right. Completely.
Absolutely.
I also do think the league should probably review this. I don't have information on if they have started that process or not, but I think that maybe would be a good call, considering some of the images that have come out from this. I'm not calling anyone a dirty player, but it did feel a little bit like a cheap shot. So I agree with Stephanie.
Well, the NBA, if the NBA is going to review calls, you're saying the WNBA can review calls and act retroactively and make sure that you hand down appropriate punishment where you deem.
Reactions occurred almost immediately within the arena. Online, those responses multiplied within minutes. Clips started to go viral on social media at an amazing rate that basketball creators began sharing slow-motion videos. Malfunctions. The replay was paused frame by fans. Various camera perspectives appeared, and each one appeared to start a whole new discussion. Some people thought the officials made the right choice right away. Others contended that the replay brought up challenging issues that need discussion. That's precisely why this moment grew far larger than a single asset. Since millions of basketball fans started looking at the same play from various angles, naturally, the discussion extends beyond the actual game. And that is precisely what took place. The discussion grew in size as more individuals watched and asked additional questions. And as the hours went by, it became more and more obvious that this wasn't just another viral highlight. It had turned into one of the most important basketball discussions of all time.